Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Objective. We're going to be talking about things worth throwing money at on today's Thursday Collective episode. And what an episode it's going to be. Please leave a like and start super chatting your thoughts and questions now. Here are some of the co-hosts we've got. First off, we've got a guy who recently underwent surgery, and he may still be high at this moment. It's Mark Pellegrino.
Hey, Rucka.
And speaking of high, the only thing higher than this guy is 50% of the space in his camera view. It's Nikos Sotirakopoulos.
Hi.
And we've got
also my electricity bills because I live in a country which is statist.
All right. And speaking of status, we've got the co-host of The Happiest Man Alive here with us herself. It's Amanda Maxham.
Statist? Yeah, I'm your friendly neighborhood dictator.
No T at the end. Status, like your high status individual.
Oh, yeah. That's it. That's the one.
All right. I'm glad we clarified that. All right. So we're going to be talking about things worth throwing money at. So how about we start with Nikos, since it was your idea? What do you say to that?
So the first thing that I throw these days money at without thinking it too much is fitness, but in terms of having a personal trainer, both in my workouts and both in my martial arts. So the benefits are unbelievable. It's almost the difference between going to a doctor and Googling your symptoms. So first time I went to my gym, the guy within 2 minutes said, look, I don't know what you're telling me. I see one problem is that you are kind of, your posture is bad. I said, you're right. All my problems at the end of the day, most of my problems stream from that. So he said, we're going to work on your posture. So a professional really knows what he does. And here's why I think it's a good investment. Number one, because you're going to save money from injuries and stuff, particularly when it comes to martial arts. It's particularly if you're above a particular age, it's much better to invest money to find someone to do one-on-one so that you don't roll or you don't spar with 20-year-old meatheads who thinks they're the alpha guys of the gym and they might injure you, or with people, which is the most usual thing, who have no idea what they're doing and might injure you by mistake. So fitness and martial arts are an area where I spend money, and I think it's a very good investment. It's worth investing in a personal trainer, and I think Mark also does the same thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to start jiu-jitsu again with the Machados, and I'll probably train privately there as well. But I when I was at the Beverly Hills Jiu-Jitsu Club, I trained with Marcus Vinicius. He's a coral belt. He's an amazing teacher, and I had private lessons with him and sparred privately. I would also do the classes, but that's where I got injured, sparring white belts. And when I did Muay Thai boxing, I studied with a man named Shuki Run, who trained 2 world champions. He was one of the greatest, hardest kickers I've ever seen, one of the best technicians I'd ever seen. And he trained me for 2 years, and it was a godsend. And JJ Perry, who's now become a huge stuntman in Hollywood, was one of the best Taekwondo martial artists I'd ever seen. And he introduced me to, I would spar in his black belt class when I was a green belt, and he introduced me to sparring with the Olympic teams in Taekwondo, which I would have done had it not been for his influence. And if you guys want to see a movie that he just directed, it's called Day Shift with Davey Franco and Jamie Foxx. It's about vampires. The movie isn't good, but the fight scenes are incredible.
And talking about spending money, let's also give an estimation to people of how much this costs. So in Greece, you can go to a gym and have some good personal training with something like 10 euros per session. When it comes to martial arts, it's a bit more expensive. So I'm paying something like 25 euros per session. But the trainer, again, is good. Is someone who has titles. I mean, it could be slightly cheaper, but overall, again, that's the budget. So what about you, Mark? How much does it take to train with elite people per hour, approximately?
Okay. If you're training with the Machados, if you're training with the Machado, you're going to be paying $500 per session. So 10 sessions are $5,000. Yeah. And if you're training, even if you're training with a really good boxing guy like Steve Petramali, who taught me to box, you're paying about $140 per session to train privately with them.
Good.
Way back when I was training with Shuki Ron, it was a lot cheaper, but now it's expensive. And to get a good trainer, a physical trainer, you're talking, you spend $1,500 a month for 10 to 12 sessions.
Okay, so you see people, Hollywood and Greece, the gap is significant. Okay, so that's
yours, Nikos. Mark, do you have anything to add? Do you have one as well, or is yours the same as Nikos's? Which is,
I would say to save money, I would spend money on exercise apps and really good fitness books. And there's tons of good stuff out there that you can read. Didn't we interview somebody on this show that wrote about the incredible fitness training of what's his name, Metzner, the great objectivist bodybuilder.
Yeah, there will be more on that if I understand well the following week.
I think Tuesday he'll be back.
Yeah. I follow apps as well, so I use some of this stuff to start me off and get me in the training mode and to get my mind in the place that it needs to be in, and then I can self-train after that.
So I think I would say if you're a seasoned trainer like Mark, you could probably have an app sort of guide you through. But if you're kind of earlier in your training career, I think having a person there with you is good to make sure you're standing right and like that your form is correct so you don't injure yourself. I would say that's a major value of having an actual trainer with you that you pay. So that's something I spend money on the last few months and plan to continue. So I should have gone first rather than letting Nikos have that one. But
let me give a clarification though on that. I've been training alone for 20 years. Again, I'd rather train twice per week with someone who knows what he's doing rather than me doing things by myself. And then, for a newbie, yes, but not only for a newbie. If you have some money on the side and you want to up your game, try personal training.
If you hired a trainer 20 years ago, you might have a hard-ass, badass chin today that you wouldn't need to hide with a beard. But seriously, folks, yeah, no, that's my item too. I mean, I could come up with more later in the episode, but I spend money on a trainer who meets with me 3 times a week now. He tells me, eat this frequently. So I'm basically spending more money on food as well. I used to eat like a meal and a half per day, basically, snacks all day and then dinner. Now it's like a big ass smoothie. Sorry for all the swearing, by the way. This is not like me. A big smoothie of with full of protein and whatnot, protein at lunch and then dinner, of course. So I'm spending more, I'm eating more. I'm probably going to need to buy more clothes because I've already gained like 10 pounds. Hopefully it's mostly good pounds, but that takes some trial and error as well. And the input of a trainer as well. So just overall, I'm spending money to be in good shape. And it's not only for the aesthetic value. It's not only to look cool, but I would think it's good at not, like I said, not to injure myself when I'm trying to lift weights by myself and end up overworking certain body parts, which end up hurting my posture, which end up causing injuries and just various problems. It's just good to have an expert who basically does this. And then I actually ended up swinging a golf club last week, which ended up making my arm hurt. And then my trainer, he's, digging into my back and he says, you've got a knot beneath your right shoulder blade. And now I'm going to a masseuse in just less than an hour from now, basically spending more money on having a guy named Jesus, his actual name. Jesus will be digging into my back for $100 an hour or whatever that costs, and hopefully performing miracles. So you got to spend money to maintain your body. It overall saves you money because if you don't train and be healthy, you will have hospital bills and depression, which will end up leading to, drugs, sex workers, and all types of expenses you don't want to spend money on later.
No, but I seriously get depressed when I have injury and I can't train. So I wouldn't even consider this a joke. But let's hear from Amanda.
Oh, yeah. I've got permanent injuries from training without a trainer. Don't get me wrong. But enough about me. Amanda.
So sorry to be the voice of absolute be the contrarian here, but I heard all the hype about hiring a trainer, and it's totally not his fault. I just want to say that I hired an amazing trainer. He's great, but as it turns out, I actually don't like people telling me what to do. And I had this weird resistance to him, and like I didn't want to do anything that he said, and like I was eating worse. And it's been much better since I've started off on my own. I work myself way harder. I don't have the distraction of talking. I think that was it. I'm just only interested in talking to somebody else if somebody else is there. So I work way harder on my own. So no, not a good investment. Better to know yourself.
But wait, these are two different things. I also enjoy more working alone. I put my music, I do whatever I want. The question is it a good investment, or is it a good place to spend a lot of money? So these would be two different things.
Okay.
It all depends on who you are, I guess. Like I said, the form, if you're not standing right, you could end up causing yourself damage. So I know a trainer who, he does a lot of online work. People send him videos of themselves working out, and he tells them you're standing wrong or you're doing this right. So,
well, also a trainer, and also a very skilled trainer, often can know your capacities better than you. So when you feel like quitting, and you tend to sell yourself short with respect to your strength and endurance, and the coach can push you farther than you would on your own.
Maybe I just need more money.
So what's your indulgence? What area are you indulging in terms of spending money, Amanda?
Okay, I thought of one thing that was amazing. Like as soon as I discovered it, that you could spend money on this thing, it was like the sky opened up and I heard, Jesus was rubbing me like Rucka's about to experience. The angels were singing. And that was, you can spend money on moving. Like people will come to your house and they will pick up the boxes that you have packed and they will put them in a truck, and then they will lift them into their proper place when you arrive at your new place.
They'll also pack them for you.
Yeah, they'll pack them too.
They can do the whole thing.
So you're making my heart hurt, Mark, because I can't afford the packing, yet. It's a dream I aspire to. But yeah, as soon as I realized, I don't have to move myself. It's amazing. Money's so cool.
Yeah, I've moved a bunch of times in the last 10 years. And I agree. It's nice to have people move your stuff for you. So I would say that's a good item as well. Should we go for round two now? Nikos, you got another one?
I will go round two. I will go for the romantic one. Round three, I will go with a new announcement about a new thing that I'm doing.
Let me chime in real quick. Just read a few quick super chats. Kirk with $2 says ARCUK is worth throwing money at. Ashley with $1.99 says TDO is a huge value to me, so worth money. Love you guys. Roland with €1.99 says I throw money at my super chat status. And finally, Roland with $4.99 says I'm with Amanda. Wouldn't like a trainer telling me what to do. Back to you, Nikos.
Okay, so a thing that you are not gonna regret spending money on is having nice time with your significant other, in terms particularly of trips, of mini escapes. So I never did it for ages. Lately, I've been doing it again. It's definitely something which is worth it. It revitalizes you. So basically, when I spend time in terms of now we're going to do something nice, I don't even count the money. It doesn't happen often, but I'm not saying this in terms of flexing, but you go somewhere nice, in a nice areas, eat something nice, have a nice sweet, have a nice coffee on the way. So small things, but in that case, it should be like allow yourself selfishly to indulge in diving into this beautiful world if you find someone worth it. Again, for years, I didn't like excursion. I didn't like trips. You find someone you enjoy doing it, do it. It's worth, and don't even count how much it costs because it doesn't happen often. So enjoy it. Also notice I'm someone who rarely goes out, rarely eats out. So whenever I do it, I tell to myself, now I enjoy it. Anyway, not super insightful or controversial. So let's go to the next person.
It's a little, I think it is good and even a little bit controversial with some people. Some people, they're counting their money, like even when it comes to a romantic opportunity. But like if ever there is a time to just not worry about it, because like the potential value here could help you make money. You know, people with a happy heart are more motivated, especially if now they've got a partner that's spending a bunch of their money. Now they really want to go out and further their career so that they can support this money wasting spouse. I'm a little
And
being a little bit
to be the party line objectivist. Remember the scene where Hank buys an expensive gift to Dagny, and he not explains, that wouldn't be completely normal, but he drives us through this process of why this is something which is very selfish for him and something that is that he always wanted to do, and now that he can do it, he feels very, very glad that he can do it. It's not easy that you can find the person for whom it's okay to have adventures and embark in adventures.
I like giving gifts as well. Sorry, Mark, go ahead.
No, there are all kinds of luxuries that one should try to experience at least once in their life, because they cleanse your internal palate and they revitalize you. If you can eat one time in a Michelin star restaurant just to get a full food experience, which is an entire preoccupation of your senses. It's not just your taste and your smell, but it's a feast for your eyes. It's literally an artistic experience to eat in a place with a renowned chef. If you could do that once in your life, it's great. If you could drive in a really cool car once in your life and smell the leather and feel the way the mechanics works around you and the speed that you can go at, you should try to do that at least once. Treat yourself to the sensual experience of that. And traveling, of course, is almost a no-brainer. Just during my wife's birthday, we went to Scotland. I'd never been to Scotland. It was a beautiful place to visit. It was the second greatest place for me on earth, next to Ireland. Yeah, great people. It was during the Fringe Festival, so it's filled with art, plays, music, and painting, and it's a perfect time to go.
But wait, I have to ask though, Mark. So how much would it cost for two people to eat in a Michelin restaurant, approximately?
You're talking about $800 or $900.
$800 or $900. Oh my God! There's such a world out there that I didn't know. If
you drink, it's probably more. Oftentimes they'll have courses set out and they'll have wine pairings with the drink. So it's I would say the low end is $600.
Okay.
I will say this to add some context. As someone who doesn't drink alcohol, people who drink alcohol end up spending a lot at the bar. That really adds up quick. So if you were to not drink at the bar, then eating at a Michelin restaurant is basically breaking even, I think. Maybe. Yeah.
And you know what? The sensual experience is worth it, because the people who are creating your food are artists, and the people who are serving you the food are artists. They're expert at what they do. To come and listen to somebody come to your table and talk to you about wine pairings and the way the wine is grown and how it will complement the food and why, it's not boring. It's a fantastic thing to see somebody so skilled and expert in what they do, and doing that right in front of your eyes. It's a great experience. Not everyone can do it, but if you can give it a shot. I've done it a couple of times and it's been worth it.
Yeah, I would think there's almost nothing that someone can't do once, you know?
Well, I mean, maybe you can't take a space shot with Elon Musk unless you're,
you could take out
quite
a loan.
Well off.
Yeah.
Okay, a loan. There you go. Oh, well, and you can get that loan forgiven. You can say you identify that loan as a student loan, and perhaps the Biden administration will let you do it. For the
something I had. So I guess I'll say this as my next item. I just thought of it now, and I've never done this, but rent out like a Lamborghini. Speaking of stuff, basically everyone can afford to do once. Rent out a Lamborghini.
How can you rent a Lamborghini?
Because it's probably not that expensive to rent it. like buying one obviously is your life could be your life.
Okay,
life's
I'm
work.
literally Googling it. Wait.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you could eat at a Michelin restaurant, probably for the same amount, you could rent a Lambo for the day.
For a day. Okay.
I don't know, or for an hour. I don't know. Just be able, like, sit in a Lamborghini and speed down the road and like just be a guy in a Lambo for a day or for an hour. That's mine.
And if you haven't flown on a private jet, like, you know, one of those great Gulfstreams or Falcon jets, if you ever get the opportunity to do that, to ride along for somebody else who's footing the bill, especially, that is quite an experience too. I mean, there's economy, premium economy, business, first class, and then flying private is something that is beyond cool.
So I don't want to disappoint people, but to rent a Lambo in Las Vegas, it's around $1,000 for 8 hours.
Okay, so like the same as eating at a very expensive restaurant. So
yeah,
I'd say the value is there.
In Vegas, I mean, would you want to? I mean, renting it in Vegas, you're on the Strip. I mean, you can't even move. You got to take that thing on the 15 and just press the pedal to the metal.
Well, you drive it through the Strip, and you know you act a little bit flashy, and then you hit the desert and just speed on halfway to LA and back.
Okay, wow, we're getting really crazy out there.
Mm-hmm. A few super chats here. We got Robert with $5 saying dance lessons, especially for those of us who are not natural dancers, invaluable. Scrimp, save, go hungry if you must, but learn to dance.
That's true. Dance lessons are great. And it's one of those things you can do with your significant other that really brings you closer together. My wife and I used to do dance lessons every weekend, and then we'd eat out afterwards at this Korean barbecue place that was right nearby. It was great.
Which one? Experience. Which one? Name names. Which Korean barbecue?
The Korean barbecue? I don't remember the name of it. Really.
Oh, well.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
You're an expert in Korean barbecue.
I'm an expert. This is an episode of how to not spend a lot of money and live luxuriously. Live in LA. Okay, strike one, living in LA, but then eat Korean barbecue. It's like $15 for like all you can eat magnificent Korean barbecue. Whereas if you go to a Korean restaurant anywhere else, it's like $40 for all you can eat. So, you know, we laugh at LA people, but they're the ones living the good life. Speaking of the good life.
Yeah. You're coming to me, right? The good life?
Momentarily, but we got a super chat from Allie with $5 saying, I have a physical book buying problem. I prefer these to digital, even though I have zero space for them. Lol. Books are always worth throwing money at. And then Roland with $4.99 says, in Vegas, there's a place where you can rent a Ferrari for 4 hours. Beautiful. Amanda, what you got?
Okay, first of all, can I just object to the title of this show? I've been a waitress and I've literally had money thrown at me, and I don't know why we're talking about money so disrespectfully. Why are we throwing money? It's uncool.
Well, is the Prophet Muhammad said, speak in a language that they can understand.
All right. So let's talk about shoes. Okay. If I buy a nice pair of shoes, I feel so great. So shoes are on my list of the things that I like to spend money on.
You and Imelda Marcos.
I don't have that many, but yeah, Imelda Marcos. She's crazy.
Here, shoes is such a worthy investment because it's one of the things that you cannot, whatever you pay, you'll get. Usually I buy these shoes with which you can walk easily, Clarks, with a soft sole from the UK.
Because you want to look like a nurse?
Yeah, well, no, they actually look... yes, I get what you say. Not these are the Skechers ones, the nurse shoes. Clarks they actually look good. Since I've moved to Greece, I couldn't find good Clarks. So I bought some shoes before Ocon. I've worn them in 3 occasions. Today I realized they started disintegrating. So I'm with Amanda's shoes. I wouldn't even consider it indulging. It's something that if you don't pay what you need to pay, sure you're gonna be on the market again. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Clarks if they want to sponsor the Daily Objective.
And I like Skechers too. I got to say, because they got those nice gel insoles. But I'm gonna give a shameless plug to a place called Fleet Feet. I've discovered them in Pittsburgh. They have them here in California. I don't know if they have them around the world, but they are the best shoe store on the planet. And they specialize in running shoes and athletic shoes. But they actually take a computer graphic of your foot. They know where all of your weak points are. They fit you custom made to a shoe that that will literally change your life. My athletic shoes are fantastic, and they last. You can only use them for about a year or so. Then you got to get new ones if you're active. But Fleet Feet, check it out. You could probably go online and also purchase things from them.
So I'm checking where is the closest to me, and the closest is somewhere in the United States. Yeah. But it looks super cool.
I've had the thought that like buying the same pair of white shoes every month or two would make sense. What's it, like $100 for a pair of Adidas shoes that are white, and then you always got new looking white shoes, because white shoes get dirty fast. So that's something I've thought of doing, but we should.
White shoes is a no for me.
Yeah, no? White shoes are a no for me too. I can't keep them clean, not for a day even. If you're active, you can't keep them clean.
I'm saying.
But if somebody has white shoes and they're perfectly white, like bleached teeth, I think something's wrong with that person.
That's because you don't have that pair and you're not wearing them. Once you're the guy in the white shoes, now you're the one people are suspicious of, and it's a nice feeling.
Okay.
But I wanted to say, kind of shoes.
I just wanted to say real quickly, I agree with Ali. I have a physical book buying problem. I have a Kindle. I could technically put 3,500 titles on there or more. But I've become over the last 2 years obsessed with physical books, and now they're sort of like the Tribble problem in
Star Trek.
Star Trek, yeah, they're just sort of just growing everywhere, falling out of every.
Your books mate with each other, and then like they get
do.
stuck up in the ducts.
I think they do. Yes, I wake up in the morning and I have 7 more books on my counter that weren't there before.
Oh, do they make cute noises?
They do. They do. Some of them are obnoxious. The philosophy books are obnoxious, but the other ones are really cute.
Speaking of Ali, we've got $5 from her saying, I also have a cameo problem, lol. Getting videos from your favorite actor / author, etc., answering people's questions and comments are extremely valuable.
Yes, it's also valuable to the people you are soliciting that stuff from. So Ali, I want to thank you for your cameo problem.
There you go. Paying the bills, keeping the lights on in the Pellegrino household. He used to go out, look for jobs in in showbiz. Now he just hangs out and does cameos. It's nice. All right. Whose turn is it? Who just went? We had Nikos.
I just went, but I'm going again.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going again.
Sorry.
All good.
One thing I've learned is that I don't economize on my tools. So things like electronics, computers, things that I use for work, like literal tools, like, hammers and like all that kind of stuff. Don't economize there. Your tools are important. They're what help you to work. So not a place to economize.
We have exactly the same. So the thing I'm spending money is indeed tools. So my latest thing is this action camera and this mic. Because I have to shoot promo videos for Ayn Rand Con Athens in April, but also because I'm thinking of starting a TikTok channel, which is going to have very, very short videos with history lessons and their philosophical, let's say, takeaways. So imagine a solo daily objective, but condensed in 2-3 minutes. So if people have any good ideas on how I should call my channel, or what type of videos I would shoot, I would appreciate it. So it's gonna be like a side project for me.
So you're
going of Nikos.
It's great, but you're going on TikTok. Aren't you worried about the Chinese military-industrial complex having all your information now?
Well, they probably already have all my information, and also,
But they're going to say this guy Nikos, he's a threat to communism.
Exactly. So I hope that the Chinese already know about me and consider me a threat. If they wait my TikTok, I've done something wrong in life.
Copy that.
How about call it behind the beard?
But
Well,
it's not going to be behind the beard because it's going to be in front of the beard. But that's a good suggestion. So that's the spirit I want. I was thinking something like story time with Nikos, but this is a bit plain.
Childish. Okay.
And also it doesn't even have to be super chat. Any chat, I will appreciate suggestions about the name.
Well, Roosevelt used to do a thing in the 40s called the fireside chat. Unfortunately, I think Dennis Prager has stolen that concept.
Yeah.
He does fireside chats now too, but that would be an interesting play on that. Would be
A,
fun.
I haven't got a fireplace here. B, it's going to be mostly by the sea. So
it is true that
Nikos by the sea.
It is true that today's conservatives do literally everything that progressives 100 years ago did. Prager being no exception with this fireside chat. Robert, the member, says Niktok, Niktok.
Hey, that's good.
Oh yeah.
TikTok is good. Okay, I'm writing it down. It will be considered. Although we're not there yet.
Speaking of being there, we are almost out of time. Kathleen with £2 says, such a fun episode. Thanks, everyone. And then Marcelina sent over €9.99. All right, Nikos, was that your third item? The camera?
Yeah,
microphone?
anything that has to do with work. So particularly if you spend money for your work and let's say don't charge your employer or whatever, you have some extra incentive to use it. So in a way, it's a good motivation to spend money from your own pocket for work.
Mark, do you have anything else that comes to mind?
Well, I mean, I'm a t-shirt and jeans guy. I prefer to spend money on books than clothes, but every once in a while to have to wear some nice clothes really, really does feel good on your body. A great shirt, great suit jacket, great pants, great pair of shoes. For those occasions, if you're fortunate enough to go to an awards ceremony or something like that, those clothes also are a deep sensual pleasure.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, you're still in LA, which is like the inverse of every other city. So in LA, if you got a t-shirt and your friend has a suit and tie, people assume that the guy in the suit works for you. Whereas in the rest of the world, you look like the unemployable one and your brother's buying you lunch.
True.
All right. Here's one that I've got. I may be alone on this. I don't know too many people who agree with me on this, but living space, like really, spending more money to have a place that you love living in, even a little on the luxurious side, if you can, location and all of that, having a view as well. I mean, to me, that's something, I tried going without it when I first moved to Austin. I tried kind of renting a place and just kind of, living on the edge. I realized that just ain't me, living in a nice place. That's the real me. So that's something I would say, as I think Yaron Brooks said, live above your means and you'll rise to the occasion. I think that's sort of a semi-controversial thing.
That's so cool. I'm going to actually write it down because I like live above your means and rise to the occasion.
As far as real estate, I don't know if you need to constantly spend money that you don't have. Yeah. All right. I guess was I last? Was that it? We are out of time. We got places to be. We got to go out there and hustle a bit if we're gonna indulge on all these things. So coming up later today, I've got no announcements in front of me. So yes, now I do at 10 p.m. UK time. It's Life on Earth with Robert Naser on Question Authority, which I think has to do with Leonard Peikoff's transcribed podcast book, Keeping It Real. So it sounds like Robert and James Valiant are going to talk about it, and that producer did not have time to explain. Oh, he says, this is not keeping it real. Oh, you hear that, Robert? He just said, you're not keeping it real. I'm kidding. He's saying this is not part of the James Valiant collaboration. This is a Life on Earth episode, which I literally read here and said out loud. So I don't know why I had to complicate things. All right. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow for Philosophy Friday on the Daily Objective. Thank you, Amanda, Nikos, and Mark. This was a wonderful Thursday collective. Leave a like on the video and hit that join button, everybody. And goodbye.